Here we are again with second episode I filmed today. Different shirt, keeping with my Green Lantern Corps thing I'm doing, but next week can be a little bit tougher because I still have 3 outstanding, and they might not come before next week's show, but we'll find out. So I had, for those who are wondering what happened to 445, this is 446. 445 was a eulogy for my cat, Jinx D Cat. She passed away earlier this week on Tuesday, May 17th. I devoted a whole episode to her because why wouldn't I? She was my girl. So go ahead and watch that first, and then you can watch this episode, or you can do vice versa. It doesn't really matter to me as long as you watch it. So it was a rough week in that aspect for me and my family. But, the weekend brightened up a little bit. We got some stuff going on this weekend that was interesting. We've got some interesting stories about fossils and archaeology and science. We've got a lot of the Disney Upfronts for this week. So Disney was, revealed a bunch of stuff, including a trailer, some plot ideas for stuff, and all kinds of neat things going on about that. Fortnite made some news this week. We had some death this week. We had the quantum apocalypse is coming. The cast of Twisted Metal keeps increasing. We're going to talk more about that. Space stuff is going crazy. Directors we haven't seen in a while coming back. Reboots. Rob Zombie, Babylon 5. I forgot the D there. Baseball. New stuff. I got a lot of stuff. A 2020 Saharan dust storm is making news again. Baltimore Ravens had some news this week. Okay. I know this one only. This. John Watts is back in the news again. Some trailers, stuff like that. So we got some interesting stuff going on this week. Professional butt models, just usual stuff that we do on our show. First up, let's talk about this weekend, since I usually start off with something personal here. After this tough week, things got better as the week progressed. I mean, we're still grieving the death of our poor little kitty, but she died on her own, and not put to sleep by the vets. But that's a whole story that I already talked about. But so found out that the kids had a half a day on Friday. So they got to have a half a day of school on Friday, which was nice for them. They were supposed to be camping this weekend. Kind of glad they aren't, because Mother Nature, or climate change, whatever you want to call it, has decided that, hey, May 21st and May 22nd and somewhat May 20th, let's do some early, let's do some early heat and made it feel like late July, early August here in Maryland. Without the humidity, though, got to give credit to that. Today's temperature got up to about 92, 93 up here. It was supposed to be much hotter, but it didn't get that high, which is good. And I realized, because I was out and about in it, and I'll tell you why in a second, for a little bit, it did not seem humid, which is fine. Which the humidity, if for those people who live on the East Coast, you know that the humidity is what kills the heat, that makes the heat be unbearable during the summer, because we are swamped with humidity. It is utterly disgusting. It's like walking in, wet clothes, or walking through an ocean. It's just so awful, and the heat just gets exacerbated by it. Today, not exasperated, blah, 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 messed up by it, whatever. But today wasn't humid. It was just warm. So I'm not saying it was comfortable, but it wasn't bad. Now, I was only out in it for a brief time. Noah and I desperately need haircuts. As you can see, I got my new haircut. Look at that. Yeah, it looks very nice. And I told you a story a couple weeks ago from Mother's Day. we went down to see my mom, and the place we were going to go get our haircut to first, we got there at 3:00. They closed at 5:00, and they were closed at 3:00, and no one was there. It wasn't like they were closed for just a second. The lights were off. Sign had changed. There was nobody in there. So they either closed early because they had enough staff, or they just felt, well, we're not going to get anybody, and just moved on, which I think was stupid. That's besides the point. So we had to get our haircut. So I decided I wanted to try a local place. There's a place right here on Main Street. There's like 5 places here on Main Street, but this one place I'd gone to years ago and hadn't gone back to in a while is literally right next door to the Cow, which for those people who know and been watching the show, the Cow is it's our version of Rita's, but it's locally owned, and it's not a company. It's done by people who, handmade Italian ices and custards and stuff like that, all kinds of good stuff. And it's probably the most popular place on Main Street right now. Probably not now, but I guarantee you a couple hours ago, there was a line that went from the Cow out to the street, and then stayed on the sidewalk, and then wrapped around through their parking lot, because that's how it always is when it's warm out there. And they only have like 3 or 4 people, and it takes time to get the stuff, and you can't just do it real quick. It takes some time to do all that stuff, particularly if you're getting one of their specially known banana splits, which literally, like, you have to hold it like this, and it is just way too much for $5. It is an outstanding value. So we went there, and we got there, and it was all women who run it, and they were surprised to see us, but they have a sign outside that says "Family Barbers, Walk-ins Welcome." So they said, "Go ahead, it might be about 10 minutes. Is that okay?" You wait. So yeah, Noah and I waited, and then sure enough, very soon afterwards, a young woman took us to the back, where she had her own little cutting room station. And she started cutting Noah's hair, because I'm going to get his hair cut first, and then he was going to do mine. But then one of the older ladies was finished with her customer and asked if I need a haircut. I said yes. So I went back to the front of the store and got my hair cut by her. And very affordable for both of us, only $35, which is not bad at all. And again, only waited for about 10 minutes. There was a dog there, one of the owner's dogs. And Noah, of course, loves dogs, so he was ecstatic to see that. And then I also promised him afterwards that we would go to the Cow. So we went to the Cow. Luckily, there was not a big line. We got to the Cow. So it was my first time visiting the Cow in almost 2 years. I think we went sometime in 2020, but I missed 2021 entirely, just because I didn't want to go for whatever reason, COVID or whatever. But went back there, and the first thing I tried was apple pie, Italian ice with custard, with caramel custard. Now, personally, I think they gave me vanilla instead of caramel. It didn't taste very caramelly, but whatever. And Noah got his orange, orange cow sort of thing. Brown cow is root beer and vanilla ice cream. Orange cow is like a dreamsicle. It's orange soda and vanilla ice cream. So he got that. And so we had that. So that was nice. And then my wife and daughter were helping my daughter's friend Shenandoah, who's doing her Eagle project, building picnic tables for a local fire department. Noelle and my wife went to help with that all day. So they were out from 9 to 4 out in this heat. They had breaks for water and Gatorade, and they had dumped ice on each other, and they got a lot of it done. They're going to go back out again tomorrow morning from like 9 to 12, and then they're going to have to waterproof it and sand it. Then it'll be done. So that'll be nice to be finished. That she'll be done. Her Eagle project for Shenandoah will be. So that'll be nice for her. And then we're going to get my grill finally after years. I think since 2020, I was supposed to get it as a Father's Day gift. And I thought the way I got my last grill was Dawn just picked one out and delivered it to me. And I said, "Oh, this is great," because it was fine. I thought she was going to do the same thing with this one, but she didn't. And so I didn't get it on Father's Day. And she said, "Okay, we'll go get it sometime." So for whatever reason, I pointed out which one I wanted for her to get. It's like, you can get it. And I mean, we didn't get it at that moment, but she could have gone back at any time and ordered it or had someone delivered or whatever. That's what I was hoping she would do, but she never did. And then I was like, okay, that's how I get it 2021. And then 2021 just went off the rails again also. And I didn't get it then also. So it's like, oh, and the same thing is here. This is what I want. Can you get it? And she didn't. but we're pretty much guaranteed to get it tomorrow. I told her I really want my grill. I want to get it before Memorial Day, which is next weekend. I bought some grill mats, so I already know that I'm going to have to get a grill because I don't want to have wasted the money to get the grill mats. It's supposed to protect your grill from the flare-ups and also the greasy, juicy stuff that mucks up and what destroyed basically my grill, because I cleaned it a little bit, but not too much, because I was told it adds to the flavor to keep some of the stuff on there, but I would scrape off the stuff and so on and so forth. And the heat kills any bacteria on it. So, but these mats you can do, it'll still cook it like it's on the grill, but cleanup will be a whole lot easier. You just, wipe it down with, a wet rag and some maybe like some Dawn put on it. You can actually put it in the dishwasher also and get it clean that way, and then put it back out ready for when you're ready to go again. And it'll keep your grill clean. And they say each pad you can cook 100 times front and back, so 200 times a pad, and you get 6 of them. So we're going to test this out, see if it works. Everything I read from Amazon, all the reviews, there are like 200 plus of them, they were all 4 and 5 star reviews. Everybody had nothing but good things to say. I didn't see one bad review for it. So it was over a span of a couple of years. So here's hoping that they're coming tomorrow. And so I'm definitely gonna get my grill. And then one of their former troop mates is having his Eagle ceremony tomorrow. So they're going to go to that. So it should be a good day for that in the end. Sports wise, here in Baltimore, the Preakness, which is the second jewel in the Triple Crown. Now, horse racing hasn't been as popular as it used to be. And this year's Preakness is the first time that they've allowed people to actually kind of be there after COVID the last few years. But it's just sort of kind of useless now because the horse that ran and won the Kentucky Derby decided they didn't want to run the Preakness, and they're going to run in the Churchill Downs or whatever the last one is in early June. And so there was no chance for a Triple Crown. And plus with the heat being really, really high, I don't think they had a lot of people down at the Preakness this year. And hopefully that'll change, and now things won't go south of that, because I'd like to have it being part of sports history other than football and baseball. It's kind of nice to have that as part of it as well. So they ran the Preakness this week. Usually the Preakness week is always filled with all kinds of stuff. It just seemed very tame. But again, COVID probably has a lot to do with that as well. But the horse early voting won the Preakness and held off the favorite. So that's twice that the favorite hasn't won this year. So it's gone and on its way. So Preakness is done. The Orioles had the last 2 nights before tonight had 2 amazing walk-off wins. They had a Thursday afternoon game with the Yankees that my father and stepmom went to, and they went to I believe the 11th inning, and the Orioles hit a walk-off home run to win the game. And then last night, the Orioles played the Tampa Bay Rays, who they'd lost 15 straight games to, going back to last year. And they went to the 13th inning, and again, a walk-off home run win for them on that against 2 really powerhouse teams in the AL East. Today, they got busted back down to life. They lost 6-1 today. But the big news for today for Baltimore fans is we've been undergoing this rebuild now for probably 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. It seems like it's been going on forever. But we finally we had a new GM put in place, and the owner, Peter Angelos' son, John Angelos, I believe, is allowing them to run ramp and do whatever they want. So they set up, overseas contacts over there. So they've got some contacts over there. And because the Orioles have been bad the last few years, they've gotten some high draft picks, and they've gotten really good picks that and have rebuilt their farm system. Our Orioles farm system in some cases is in most sporting magazines is in the top 10, usually actually in the top 5, and in a lot of cases is the number 1 farm system in baseball. We have the number 1 pitching prospect in Grayson Rodriguez, and the number one offensive draft person, prospect in Adley Rutschman. And there are players who were drafted after Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman was the first overall pick when the Orioles had the first overall pick a few years ago. He's catcher. There are players that were drafted after him that have been playing in the major leagues now for a couple of years, but the Orioles decided to keep it easy for him. And he had his debut as an Oriole major league debut today. There's a big party for everybody. He was catching his old friend Kyle Bradish, who they came up together in the farm system because he was drafted around the same time as Adley was. So they know each other pretty well. Adley's first at bat, he struck out. His second at bat, he walked. And everyone in Baltimore was going crazy. They've been dying to see this kid. He's number one prospect, blah, blah, blah. And it's a sign that the rebuild has started working. Finally, we're starting to see some good from it. And then his last at bat, he lanced a triple into the right field corner. Now, the odd thing about that is, and that's great, it's his first Major League Baseball hit, and it was a triple. What's interesting about that is Manny Machado, who was one of our last really good prospects that had a lot of good news about him. His first Major League base hit was a triple. Matt Wieters, who was our previous catching prospect, who was also a huge prospect, his first Major League Baseball hit was a triple also. So if you want to have your first Major League and you're a major prospect for the Orioles and you come up, you're going to hit a triple in your first game. So, or as your first hit, I should say. So he did not score a run, but he still hit a triple though. So that's good for Adley. So busy week. Next weekend is going to be a whole lot better because next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. It is a 3-day weekend, the official kickoff of summer. My wife and daughter are going to be taking a hike down in Washington, D.C. with the Scouts. My son doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to walk, but the pool will be open that we go to, so we might go do the pool or we might not. I don't want to, but if he wants to, I'll go. Temperatures are going to drop again. It's going to be another 90s tomorrow, but it's going to be back in the 70s and 60s, get some 80s next week. So we're going to be a little bit more normal temperatures next week, which is good. But I get a 3-day weekend. The kids get a 3-day weekend. My wife gets a 3-day weekend, so that's absolutely perfect. And then June hits. Kids only then have about 2 weeks left of school, and then they're out for the summer. My birthday is coming up, first day of summer. My dad's birthday is going to be 75 this year. We're going to go have a nice dinner right up the street from us. My mother-in-law has her birthday in June. Her anniversary, my mother-in-law's anniversary is in June. Friends of ours' anniversaries in June. My wife's cousin's marriage was in June also. So Father's Day. All kinds, and then the end of the month, they're gone for a whole week at summer camp. So I will have a week where it's just gonna be me here. I'm taking off that Thursday and Friday before 4th of July. So I'll have a 5-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend for 4th of July. We're having a family reunion at my Uncle Philip's house on 4th of July. So that's going to be really a lot of fun. So got a lot of stuff coming over the next month or so. So looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. So that's some of the good stuff coming up. A funny story on Thursday. Or was it yesterday? Or was it Friday? It might have been Friday. No, it was Friday. It was a funny story on Friday. So on Friday, I had to run a few errands. I had to get groceries. I had to get a V-Buck card for Noah, actually an Apple card for me that I wanted to get. So I got to get that now, put in the system, stuff like that. I need to get gas. And so I pulled into the gas station I always go to. And I always get the mid-range gas. I don't get the cheap gas. I don't get the too expensive one. I get the mid-range one. So I put the gas in, and it was like 9 gallons put in, and it was $47.01. Literally at the gas tank across from me. So I'm here. I'm gassing up here. Right next to me, across the way, is another car. It's gassing up right now. The owner of the car is inside getting something to drink or whatever. So just lets the pump running and is going to do that. Their total cost $47.01, and they got 10 gallons. So I just, I've never seen that before. Now I've seen it before where I've gotten the totals to be exactly, $25 or $40 or whatever, but I've never, ever seen two gas pumps with the same amount of money, but different gallon sizes being done at the same exact time. It is just a weird sort of happenstance. And it was a interesting capper to this week. I wish I could remember my dream last night because it was crazy. We could have done in dreams, but I don't remember much about it. But I had a really wild dream last night. The vague things I remember about it took place, I believe, like at a 7-Eleven right outside of a airport that nobody ever went to. I mean, the people went to it, but it was never very busy. And there was a wedding that was going to happen eventually. And my pants were in a puddle of water that I was going to wear to the wedding, and I let them dry. There was a stripper somewhere involved with that. It was a wild thing. And then someone said Donald Trump is dead, and that woke me up. I thought, did that happen? No, it didn't. But not that I'm condoning it, but I'm not going to go there regardless. But it just woke me up, and it just was a kind of a weird, wild dream that I had. So I wish I could remember more of it. So it's been kind of an interesting weekend. I got a lot to cover, and it's already 1:00 because I did a pre-show here. So I'm going to try I might just blow through this real quickly and maybe not talk about too much because I've already gone in about 22 minutes here. So let me just get a swig here, and we're going to do this. So this week was Disney Upfronts, which means that they are revealing stuff about their upcoming slate of stuff. First big news is last week I said that it unofficially was announced that She-Hulk was going to debut August 17th. Well, it's not unofficial anymore. It is official. They released the first trailer for She-Hulk, first full trailer for She-Hulk, as part of these upfronts with the date of August 17th as a release date. The trailer's really good. I actually like it a lot. People are upset about the CGI. I thought it was fine. It's supposed to be a comedic version of it. You got to see a little bit of everything. You see her mousy side, Jennifer Walters, see her sexy side as She-Hulk. You see her and Smart Hulk working together because Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner is a major part of the series. Charlie Cox's Daredevil is supposed to be part of the series as well, but we didn't see anything about him, though. There are rumors that there's a quick shot of Frogman, and there was an episode of the comics where Daredevil was dressed up as Frogman at one point, so there's possible the Wrecking Crew is going to make an appearance. Tim Roth made an appearance as the Abomination. Wong is going to make an appearance, so he didn't show up in the trailer, but it looks like a good show, and I think it looks entertaining, and I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of Daredevil, they announced that a Daredevil show is officially in the works now at Disney Plus. There's all these rumors that, they're going to do one, but there's never any official statement. There is now, because they also announced that Matt Carman and Chris Ord are going to be the showrunners of it. So we have showrunners, which means it's a TV show. So they're working on that right now. They also announced that Secret Invasion, which I believe is going to hit probably at the Hawkeye era, which was last year, was around Christmas time. I believe that Secret Invasion will pop up at the end of this year, is going to take place during the 5-year period where half of existence was blipped out by Thanos. So it'll be an interesting look at, because we've never really had a show examine what was going on during that period of time. We've seen the aftermath of it, and we've seen hints of what was happening through people's comments and stuff like that, but we've never actually seen what the world was like during that time. So this is a very exciting thing to happen. But here's the thing, though. If that's the case, why is Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury front and center in the show and starring in it when he was blipped out? Well, here's my theory. When they cast Ben Mendelsohn again as the character he played from Captain Marvel as being a regular on this show as well, You're not going, and we know that from Spider-Man Far From Home, he had been disguised as Nick Fury for a while with his wife as whatever the I can't think of her name right now. During Far From Home, and we knew that Nick Fury, after the blip, had been up in a space station recovering or setting up a new galaxy-wide team like Shield, but called Sword or whatever. So, Ben Mendelsohn's character had took on the guise of Samuel L. Jackson for the Spider-Man Far From Home story and had him in there. But you can't do that if you're casting Ben Mendelsohn. You want to get him to be his role and see him, and you don't want him to be half and half with Samuel L. Jackson being disguised as Samuel L. Jackson, because where's the fun in their interactions? If you're the same person, you're not really having interactions. So what my belief is that since Secret Invasion is based on some comic book stories where there's a faction of Skrulls who've taken over the Earth secretly by infiltrating superheroes and people and pretending to be them, my theory is that there's a faction of Skrulls that might be due to the fact of the blip. They are a little desperate for whatever. They come to Earth, and one disguises himself as Nick Fury and is like the leader, is disguised as Nick Fury. So you'll be able to have Samuel L. Jackson be front and center, and he'll be playing the bad guy. And then Ben Mendelsohn's character will be playing probably, this is just my theory, is that he will be playing the role he played in Captain Marvel. He knows about this faction. He needs to stop it. So he's going to be portraying Samuel L. Jackson's boss that he did in Captain Marvel, because that's Ben Mendelsohn, really, for the most part, and still being a Skrull. So that's my theory about how that's going to work. But I think it's a wonderful idea to examine what went on during the blip. So I think that's a really good take on that. Not from the Disney Upfronts, but Fortnite has announced that they are releasing an Obi-Wan skin. We sort of knew that was coming, much like we have a feeling that Darth Vader skin will be part of the Battle Pass for the next season, coming out June 3rd or 4th. So we think that that's going to be that. But right now we have an Obi-Wan one that's going to be released in the shop the day before Obi-Wan, or rather Kenobi, premieres on Disney Plus. Because remember, Kenobi premieres next Friday, the 27th, 2 episodes. So we'll get the Obi-Wan Kenobi skin on the 26th. Now, Stranger Things is also going to be, premiering next Friday also. And there were some Stranger Things skins that have been in the game as well. So we might see them back in the thing as well. We have some Stranger Things stories down the line, though, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So, and I'll get more Disney Upfronts here in a little bit, but some other things too. Last week, I talked about how people are thinking about using electromagnetism to try to predict earthquakes. Well, the Dutch are pledging $1 billion to support underground gravitational wave detectors, which will be these early warning signs. So they actually are in the business of making these things. I was just postulating, how they could use that. Well, this is why they're doing it. They're spending $1 billion to create this device, which will help, be able to predict earthquakes a bit better than before them actually hitting you when they hit you. So that's good. Every week, it seems like another species we thought was gone or whatever is making an appearance again. Well, a moth species not seen since 1912 was found in luggage out of all places, a Detroit airport. So people are trying to figure out how that actually happened. But again, it's kind of exciting that that something like that has happened. Going to something not so exciting, Pauly Shore, who was a big deal in the late 80s and early 90s, had a string of they weren't really big hits, but he made some movies and got kind of cult following, stuff like that. Well, one of his well-known movies is Biodome, where he and Stephen Baldwin play two like stoners who get locked in a biodome with a bunch of scientists who are going to be locked in there for about a year to prove that they can subsist in a dome with just plants and stuff like that for a year. And they, of course, go and screw everything up. But then in the end, turn around and help them solve the case and loosen them up a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Well, supposedly there's a sequel on the way with him reuniting with Stephen Baldwin, and they're going to be going to Mars. Don't know how true that is, but it was announced this week that Pauly Shore has said that they're going to start filming it this year. So it'll be out next year. So we'll see. Is the world really clamoring for a Biodome 2? About as much as they are clamoring for a Spinal Tap 2, though Spinal Tap was actually a better movie. But the cast and crew of Spinal Tap have decided, hey, time for us to do a second movie. So Spinal Tap is going to be getting a sequel. Don't know what the storyline's all about yet, and I can't find the story on it, so I'll find it eventually. I'll get it eventually, but I just wanted to let you know about it since I was already talking about sequels. So that's an interesting little tidbit there. Margot Robbie has signed on to make a prequel to Ocean's 11, the George Clooney, Brad Pitt, who else big is in that? Matt Damon series. It'll be set in the 1960s. Jay Roach, who directed her in a movie about Rupert Murdoch, Bombshells, I think, and also as the Austin Powers director, is going to be directing this prequel as well. Speaking of casting, perfect casting, I should say. Yellowstone, the series on Paramount Plus, is a beast. The original show itself with Kevin Costner has been doing gangbusters on streaming. That has gone 4 or 5 seasons right now, and Kevin Costner doing a regular TV series. No one really expected that to happen. It's a modern Western, and nobody thought that was any interest in that, but apparently there was, and there's huge interest in it so much that they have created a spinoff called 1883, which stars Sam Elliott, who is the ultimate cowboy, which is connected to the modern day Yellowstone. It's the how this group of people went out to colonize the West, which leads to the Yellowstone group being formed, and towns, stuff like that, and so on being formed like that. So they are doing basically a TV show about the history of the Western. That became successful. So they are spinning off from 1883. They're going to focus on, I have this written down somewhere else also, but I'll have to bring it up again. I'll get the actor's name when I find it again. They're going to be doing a sequel, actually not a sequel, a spinoff of it, which is going to be following there it is, to focus on Black lawman Bass Reeves, who was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger. So they've got that series coming up, and that's going to be interesting. A focus on a Black lawman in the 1880s, who was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger and is a real person, Bass Reeves. So that should be interesting. So they're doing more historical stuff about the West while putting it into like a historical fiction aspect as well. And then they're doing another spinoff, because they want to follow the generations. So you have the modern day Yellowstone. You've got 1883 with how they got set up. Well, let's see what happens in the 1920s with the new spinoff 1932. 1932 is going to be the spinoff. And I guess that makes more sense because that would be during the Dust Bowl and during the hard times out West. And they're going to be doing a show called 1932, again, about, that is going to be connected to the Yellowstone in general, and probably going to cover how the West was during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl time, which is 1932. Sorry about that. And that has an amazing cast with Harrison Ford, and Helen Mirren will be joining the cast for that, and they'll be doing the TV show. So it's this Yellowstone saga is nobody expected it, and it is doing gangbusters. So I got to give them credit for that. So that's brilliant. Last week, I announced that Stephanie Beatrix, late of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, late of 9-9 and Encanto, has signed on to be in I thought it was a movie, but it's actually a TV show, Twisted Metal TV show, based on the weird video game that's going to star Anthony Mackie, who played the Falcon. It's one of his dream projects. So he's starring in it, and it's like show running and stuff like that. So Stephanie Beatrice has been cast in that, as I said last week, as a role that's not in any video games, a brand new role. But they did cast 2 more people this week. One is Thomas Hayden Church, late of Wings and the Sandman from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He was in No Way Home. He's been cast in the Twisted Metal series as a character that's in the Twisted Metal game. And Nev Campbell has also been cast in Twisted Metal, also playing a character that has appeared in the video game. So Twisted Metal is getting quite a little pedigree for itself. So good on that. The Terminal List trailer came out this week. It's going to be the Amazon Chris Pratt movie of the year. Last year, they did that one, The Tomorrow War, I think. Well, this year, this is based on a series of novels. First trailer for it comes out about a guy who, like a Marine who's a really good Marine, and he lost his entire group to a firefight over like in Iran or something like that, Saudi Arabia or something like that, or Iraq or something like that. And he comes home and knows some things that weren't supposed to happen. So to send a message, the government or whoever the bad guys are, they kill his family. So he's got to go and, stop them. So that's what the series is kind of based on. So that's pretty interesting as well. Also going on, that's kind of a crazy thing happening here. Announced last week that they had a new Doctor Who, and he's going to be making his appearance sometime next year, because next year is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. We also announced that David Tennant and Catherine Tate have officially signed on to come back to Doctor Who. And lo and behold, this week we get photos of them already filming the new Doctor Who stuff. Now, the rumor is that it's not going to be a TV series right now. It's going to be a sort of a reconnection leading to the arrival of the new Doctor. They're going to take a look at a bunch of, one-off series or shows, just like one-off movies like they've done before, or do a couple of them all connected before they get to the new Doctor, whatever. And the big rumor now is that, the rumor came out a while back that is David Tennant coming back as the new Doctor before they announce who the new Doctor is. That might actually be true, because now theories are going about, because the filming that we've gotten photos of this week shows him in a blue trench coat, which he didn't wear during his time as the regular Doctor. So it's kind of a sign that he's not playing the old style Doctor. And the character of Rose Tyler has been recast as a black actress from the TV show Heartstopper. And so there's all kinds of theories going on about that as well. Is it an alternate reality, or is it someone's child or whatever? So the theories have been making the thing around right now is that the current Doctor is going to regenerate into David Tennant's old school Doctor. And he's going to have to try to figure out why he regenerated back into this form. And while he's trying to figure that out, he runs into Wilf, who he had in his last series, who is the uncle or grandfather of Catherine Tate's Donna. So Wilf is making a reappearance in this, and he runs into Donna, and somehow the rumor is she's going to remember the stuff that happened with them, and so on and so forth, and that this Rose Tyler could be her daughter. Excuse me. Catherine Tate's daughter, because she got married before, right before Tennant's Doctor left, and that was years ago. So that would fit as well, and Donna would just named her Rose Tyler for whatever reason. So there's all kinds of rumors going on about that. There's that rumor. There's rumors that it's an alternate reality. It's rumors that stuff is just out of whack. There's rumors that this Rose, what is actually the Doctor, and is Catherine Tate's daughter, but is also the Doctor. It's just all kinds of crazy stuff. So we'll actually find out sometime next year what's going on with that. Speaking of Heartstopper, it's one of the hottest shows on Netflix right now. It got renewed for 2 more seasons already because of the popularity of it. So that's a good sign for that. It's a pretty good show from what I heard. It's not one up my alley, but it's doing very well in the streaming ratings as well. Stranger Things episodes 7 through 9 are all feature-length films or feature-length episodes. Episode 7 is 1 hour and 38 minutes long, and episode 8 is 1 hour and 25 minutes long. Episode 9 is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Now, they also showing the list of all the other episodes. They're all going to be over an hour long. So this season not only is going to be a big, exciting one, it's going to be huge. So instead of, they want to keep it to 9 episodes, but they very easily probably could have doubled the amount of episodes. Instead, they decided to keep it at these feature-length sort of films. So I guess good on that. Apparently, and I guess maybe when I mentioned last week that there was going to be a kaiju show, I guess this was the kaiju show. It didn't say that directly, but right now, Godzilla and the Titans is the name of the TV series that is coming to Apple TV, and it's going to be based on this monsterverse that we've been seeing with the Godzilla and Godzilla King of Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong of Kong Island and stuff like that. And it's going to be, connected to that. And the reason why it made news this week is because Matt Shankman, who was the one of the showrunners for WandaVision, is the showrunner for this. So apparently, I guess the kaiju show I was talking about last week is this Godzilla and the Monsters. So it's going to be a Godzilla show on Apple TV based on spin-offs from the movies that we've been watching. Go figure. I didn't know that. Some local news, the University of Maryland baseball team, which has been having an amazing year so far. They've already broken the record for most school wins ever by a baseball team with 42. We'll make that 43 now because they just won the Big Ten championship for the first time ever. So the University of Maryland baseball team has won the Big Ten championship for the first time in history. So good on for them. We got our first look at what Spirit of Halloween is about. This was mentioned a couple weeks ago on my show where they were going to, there's that series, there's that around Halloween, or actually probably around September, the Spirit Halloween stores pop up everywhere in abandoned buildings, stuff like that. And they have Halloween costumes and decorations and animatronics and stuff like that you can buy for your Halloween pleasure and stuff like that. I've gotten costumes before there. I've gotten decorations, stuff like that. They're really, they just take over the bones of abandoned buildings for a couple months. And they're not the neatest or cleanest places, but it does its job. So it was kind of odd that they were making a movie about it, and they are. It's starring Christopher Lloyd and Rachel Lee Cook from She's All That. And we get our first synopsis of what it is, including some pictures of it. Apparently, Christopher Lloyd is going to play a land developer who's been trying to buy this town for years, and then he died. And rumor has it that his spirit visits the town and messes things up for them once a year. And that's just one aspect of it. But it seems like the synopsis that we got is that a Spirit Halloween store just pops up in an abandoned mall or strip mall. And Rachel Lee Cook's son and his friends decide to spend the night in this creepy Spirit of Halloween shop after hours with all the Halloween stuff around it. And we believe that Christopher Lloyd's evil land developer who's dead and is like the demonic presence, whatever, is going to possess the animatronics inside the Spirit Halloween place and go after the kids staying there. So I think it's an intriguing look at things, and we'll get a better idea of it. But I don't think it might be. Here we are in May, June, July, August, September, October. We got 5 months. Is it possible that they could have it filmed, edited, and ready to roll by Halloween? It's very possible we could see it by Halloween. So we'll just keep an eye on that and see if that actually is indeed the case about what's going to happen. Some more local news. Sam Cooke, The Baltimore Ravens longtime kicker, 16 years with the team, longest tenured Raven of all time. He's played in 200 plus games, more than any Raven in our 20 plus year history. Announced his retirement this week. The Ravens drafted a punter in this past draft, and I don't know if that was necessarily a hey, we're going to replace you sort of thing. They just wanted to have a guy in there, but maybe they knew that Sam Cooke was contemplating this, and now he announced it. But he's not going that far. He's not going to play anymore. He's retiring, but he has joined the coaching staff of the Baltimore Ravens as a special team consultant. He's going to work with the new punter and, in his own words, turn him into the best punter in the NFL. And if anybody can do it, I think Sam Cooke can. He's an absolutely good guy. Was a phenomenal player. Will get his place in the Ring of Honor down at Ravens Stadium. Creepy stuff. There's a lot of creepy stuff. Mars. We won't get there yet. Birdwatcher, who was wrongly accused in Central Park video from 2020 by a Trumpist, saying that this guy was trying to rob her or whatever, but there's video that the woman was one that attacked him and not her, the other way around, and she got into a lot of trouble. But he was just bird watching. He is getting his own bird watching show, so good for him to suffer through that BS from some racist asshole, MAGA shithead, dumbass motherfucker who doesn't know jack shit from anything. And they got in trouble, and the bird watcher who was wrongly accused is getting his own show. So I think it's great. So good on that. The police break up a fight between Star Wars and Doctor Who fans at a recent convention. A fight broke out between Star Wars fans and Doctor Who's fans. No one knows really what started it, but the police had to be called in to break up the fight between these two interesting groups here. So that's kind of funny. Let's see. There's new Sour Patch Kids called Cola Bubble flavor. So I guess it'll taste like soda, but it'll also have sort of like a bubbly. Ooh, I have that nitro in there. I got to try that. It's been in there for a couple weeks now. Oh, I'm sorry. Just thought of that. And the new Warner Brothers CEO wants more Harry Potter content for HBO Max, I guess. So I mean, if Fantastic Beasts 4 doesn't happen, or 5, which was supposed to be a 5-movie thing, maybe he can get them done. And he wants some like new material, maybe like a TV show or like that. And we'll see if J.K. Rowling is going to do anything about it. But I don't know if it's going to sell well with her discussions about being anti trans and stuff like that. So just got a lot of weird stuff here. All right, so we'll start with death here real quick. Vangelis, the New Age musician who was the scorer for both Chariots of Fire and Blade Runner, passed away this week. John Ayland, who is a veteran character actor who spent a lot of time in ER, the TV show, died at the age of 75 this week. Ricky Gardner, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, Berlin era guitarist, died at the age of 73. I guess when they were in Berlin, he was their backup guitarist. Maggie Peterson played the singer Charlene Darling on the Andy Griffith Show. She passed away this week as well. Helen Wooten, Chicago music producer, manager, all kinds of stuff, that died at the age of 72. I got a lot of stuff to go with. I don't have enough time here. It's been almost an hour, not quite an hour. I'm still doing pretty good, I guess. All right, here we go. Some really fascinating stuff in the world of science and archaeology. First up, a giant sinkhole opened up in China this week, and people were surprised when they peered into the hole, they discovered an entirely new world. This is not fake news, whatever. It is a whole world that had that's 3 football fields in length, had 100-foot trees, and could have fauna and flora from the prehistoric age. So that's going to be that's probably the greatest scientific discovery this week, and something kind of fascinating to see how a entire forest was built on top of. So it's kind of interesting. The quantum apocalypse is coming, apparently. It's not what you think it is, though. Apparently, quantum computers are going to be the new rage here all of a sudden. Sorry, laptop here. But quantum computers are going to be much faster, going to be able to do things quicker, easier, faster, bigger brains. They can solve stuff. And so people are afraid that it's going to fall into the wrong hands. If it does, they're going to be able to break through passwords and high-tech security with this quantum-style computing, and could cause a apocalyptic sort of nature because of this, all this stuff. So whoopee. Invasive jumping worms are in California. They can clone themselves. They thrash violently and jump a foot in the air. So that's not frightening at all. Apparently, the builders of Stonehenge ate parasites because they discovered old-fashioned Stonehenge poop, and they did tests on it and discovered old parasites inside the poop. So they feel that they must have been eaten by the creators of Stonehenge. Not that they were in, they do not believe that they were in the people whose poop that was, but they believe they actually ate the parasites. Then there was a near pristine Bronze Age spear was found buried in a what do you call it? Like a swampy area, watershed area that's being developed. And a 3,000-year-old sword was discovered in Denmark, which was still sharp, by a family that was in their front yard. So crazy stuff like that. This name of this episode was The Fossil Record, I think, something like that. This is the first of many fossil stories. A massive dinosaur fossil was unearthed by the Alberta, Canada pipeline crew. They discovered a massive dinosaur, so that's kind of interesting. To space, we discovered that Mars has aurora borealis like we do, which is kind of interesting because they don't have magnetic pole, but the scientists know what it was. I didn't read what it was, but there was a way they can have that stuff. NASA scientist researcher, special researcher, believes that the laws of physics could be changed. That's not frightening at all. Voyager 1 is sending Earth bizarre radio messages that have nothing to do with the area around it. People are afraid that it's been out there for 45 plus years, and they're afraid that it is entering like its senile stage. So they're going to try to figure out a way to do it, but it's sending weird stuff that has nothing to do with what they asked it to do, and weird stuff, talking about stuff that's and seeing stuff that they were not supposed to be at, stuff like that. So we'll see how that's going to work out. A spooky object is sending out radio signals every 18 minutes from deep space, so nobody knows what that's about. And it's all the stuff on this page. There's more space and fossil stuff once we see. I'm at that page in my notebook where we have this, and now we're going to this. So I've got 2 more full pages and a small little bit here. Rob Zombie's Monsters movie is supposedly going to be heading to Netflix instead of theaters. So that should be interesting. Tom Blythe has been cast as the young Snow in the Hunger Games prequel. That's going to get ready to start filming here very soon. Epic paper airplane throw shatters the world record in South Korea. Babylon 5 remake is still in the works, so fans of Babylon 5 will be happy to hear that. A new trailer for Paramount, I think it's Paramount Plus's or Hulu's, might be Hulu's, new Predator movie, Prey, which has the Predator coming to Earth before the settlers came to North America and taking on Native Americans. It's a kind of a very creepy trailer. Looks really interesting, actually, and it was supposed to tease a really interesting bit here. Oh, great. Oh, yeah. Nighttime solar panels have been discovered that can get their power from infrared lights have been discovered. So that could be a way to keep solar power going 24/7. So, instead of, it getting, sucking up all the sun's energy and storing it in batteries, it can now constantly give you a flow of energy by using infrared. I think that's kind of interesting. Part of the Disney, continuing with the Disney, oh, I know what this is. Let me just, part of the Disney Upfronts, they talk a little bit about Star Wars. They said that Taika Waititi's Star Wars film that he is said to be developing is going to be the next one to hit movie theaters, whenever that may be. Rogue Squadron, which was Patty Jenkins's, who directed Wonder Woman, her Star Wars movie she was going to make, and then it got pushed away, and they said, "Oh no, we're still going to make it, but it might just take some time." Well, it's now been put off again to the side. Who knows if it's ever going to get done, but it might be a little while for it that gets made its way to where it needs to go. The Ryan Johnson TV series that he was working on, or series of movies that he was supposedly working on, is also been backburnered as well, despite the fact that The Last Jedi was, of the three crappy Star Wars movies that came at the end, was considered to be the best one of the three. So we'll see what happens with that. Where's that other story that's also Star Wars related? Where is it? Oh yeah, John Watts. He was the director of the Spider-Man trilogy, and then he was supposed to do the Fantastic Four, but he dropped out of that. Well, the reason why he dropped out of that is because he wants to make his own Star Wars show, and it's going to be a galactic version of a 1980s coming of age story that's going to be set after Return of the Jedi. So that's entering development now, and that's an intriguing take on Star Wars. Should be interesting to see how that's going to come about. Ironheart, I thought had already started filming, but it hasn't. We'll start filming for its series, obviously to come out in 2023. On my birthday, first day of filming is June 20th, and it goes to October 21st. So it's going to be filming this summer and fall. So good on that. That all came out of the Disney Upfronts. Let's see, anything else? Oh, yes, Loki. Kevin Feige, whatever, revealed that Loki is the most watched Marvel TV show of all of them. Taking a look at all the streaming hours that they've been able to procure for each show, Loki is the top one by way in a far amount. So I don't remember the exact numbers itself, and I forget who number 2 is, but Loki is number 1. Not Disney related. Oh, actually, it is. We'll do this one. Hocus Pocus 2 is now is set to come out on September 30th, just in time for Halloween. So good on that. There's this tab sequel I talked about. So it's good on that. So there we go. George Miller, the director of Mad Max and what many people consider to be one of the best movies of the 21st century, Fury Road. His new movie has got its first trailer with Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton called 3,000 Years of Longing. It looks like it's a love story about a genie, played by Idris Elba, who falls in love with a woman and tries to keep in contact with her over his 3,000-year time or whatever. So we'll see what happens. The Wheel of Time season 2 has finished filming, so we might very well see that by the end of the year as well. Amazon has got their Lord of the Rings show coming out in September. So we might not see Wheel of Time right after that, or it might be something to do like, hey, you like the Lord of the Rings stuff and became highly rated. Here's Wheel of Time, the new season of that right afterwards. So we'll see if that actually comes true or not. Other networks did their upfronts as well. And one thing was the CW announced that Riverdale is finally being canceled. Much joy comes to everybody because the cast members had wanted to be out of that for a while. Amber Heard, who's in the middle of this defamation court case with Johnny Depp, is getting a little bit of taste of the Johnny Depp stuff when he got removed from the Fantastic Beasts movie, and all of his movies got canceled out as well because Amber Heard has showed up as being not likable and very well could be one of the main problems, and not Johnny Depp wasn't. She has been released from her Aquaman 2 contract, not knowing if that means she's going to be cut from the film, or they have to re-edit it, or if they're just going to lessen her part. Haven't decided yet. I guess that's what reshoots are for. You can always go back and reshoot and just delete her all out and then bring in a new love interest and have that be the one. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Uwe Boll, who is considered to be one of the worst directors of all time, is finally coming back onto the screen. He's been out for a while, and he's going to be making a movie about Elliot Ness. So he'll be his new movie is going to be coming out here soon in a little bit. Bane, Penguin, Riddler, Two-Face, Catwoman, and Mr. Freeze are all getting one bad day one-shots coming from DC over the next couple months. I'm not sure I'm a big fan that they're trying to do the Killing Joke, but for them, Killing Joke is not a great story, even though everybody makes it out to be. It's got gorgeous artwork, but the story itself is very lacking for me, and Riddler is one of my favorite characters, and they've got Tom King, who I've always liked writing him, but it looks like they're going to be taking a cue from the crappy Batman movie, which comes out on Blu-ray on the 24th. So you haven't seen it yet, which I haven't yet, but I've seen what I've seen of the Riddler. I'm not a fan of that. We'll see what happens, but that's come up here soon here. Back to more space fossil. No, not yet. Well, one second. Johnny Cash mural. So a picture of Johnny Cash was painted on the outside of a water tower in some southern city or whatever. And that's cool and all that. But one morning, someone came and discovered that the water tower is leaking through the Johnny Cash mural down in his groin area. So it looks like that he is peeing on the floor, on the ground from the water tower, because somebody shot it. So they nailed the shot. I think they wanted to get him in the ball so that it looked like he was peeing, but they nailed the shot and it worked. So they're going to have to fix that, I think. So that's interesting. Ginger ale, Canada Dry Ginger Ale has a new ginger ale raspberry lemonade flavor in time for summer. I think I might try that out. We'll see. I didn't like their last mix that much, so we'll see how this one goes. Get a little bit of added. The raspberry lemonade is going to be good. The U.S. Soccer's women's team is now going to get paid the same amount as the U.S. men's soccer team as they both attempt to go to the World Cup in their men's and women's thing. So they are the first sport to have, or the first job in general, to have equal pay for both men and women. So good on that. Now we've got science and more science. No, we don't go more. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it's an interesting comic from Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill. It's very dense. It's got a lot of literary jokes and characters from numerous British literary stuff like that. It's a huge, wide-ranging thing. It's not entirely the greatest one, but it's very hard to slog through. And they made a movie of it with Sean Connery years back, and it didn't do that well. So now they're going to try again Hulu has said, let's try a reboot of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's an interesting premise. They just need to do it right. They need to, maybe not do the denseness that is the Alan Moore stuff, but you can use the characters from British literature, and you can have the Easter eggs of these characters, in other British literature interacting with each other. So we'll see what happens with that. Now I think we got everything with science and stuff like that. So we're just going to go down here. No, we don't. We got one more. Nick Saban, the coach of the Alabama basketball team, or football team, the Alabama football team, is whining and bitching about the Texas A&M coach and his draft class this year. Apparently, Nick Saban always gets the best prospects dropped in his lap because Alabama is always focused on major network television, and it's always in the finals, and it's always ranked high because they get the best talent. But now Texas A&M and other schools are starting to suck away some of this talent. So Nick Saban's getting a little bit pissy and whiny because he's not getting his toys that he wants to play with. So he made a comment this week that the Texas A&M coach bought their draft class, which is, many say, is better than Alabama's this year. And it's ironic and hypocritical because that's how Nick Saban is able to get his his teams to be so popular, is they are definitely being bought as well. So it's kind of hypocritical for him saying that, and it could blow up in his face because now a former player or someone is like, well, I know for a fact that Nick Saban has done the same thing that he's blaming the Texas A&M coach for. So why don't we do an investigation to prove that this is right? So we open up one to prove that, if this is upsetting Nick Saban, well, hey, why don't we investigate you first? Because apparently you've been doing the same thing and you can't really say anything, being hypocritical about it. So now I'm just going to, as we're getting really late now, so I'm just going to blow through these now. A space rock with a weird chemistry suggests it came from a supernova. That's interesting that a space rock came from a supernova. Prehistoric dolphin species has been discovered in landlocked Switzerland, which means at one time Switzerland was covered in water, which I think everyone pretty much believed anyway. World's first artificially inseminated sand tiger shark gives birth at a Myrtle Beach aquarium. So that's good, it's a way to increase, population of animals who might not be able to do it themselves. And if it worked for them, you can move on to other animals and try to bring them back as well, which is good. Winter ticks have killed off 90% of moose calves in Maine. That's kind of a scary thing to happen. I don't like that very much. Last week I talked about there's a bunch of great white sharks that seem to be hanging around outside of Cape Cod in that area. Well, now killer whales have joined them there for a big old killer whale shark party. So we'll see where that's going and why all of a sudden they're deciding to do that. No idea. A 150,000-year-old human tooth has been discovered, and it shows rare evidence of an extinct group called the Denosaurus, which is, I guess, a version of humanoid that they've known existed, but this tooth goes back to that era. Bunch of space things. The first direct image of alien planets circling a distant star have been released. I don't know why this isn't bigger news, because as of now, all these other planets, it's hypothetical that there's all these millions of new planets out there that it's hypothetical is what they've seen. And they're probably right, because that's how they discovered Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, is through these sort of mathematical, scientific sort of things. But now we get our first actual proof that this star, which they knew had planets around it, actually has planets around it, and you can see the planets. So it should be a much bigger story. I think that's really, really cool. The Hubble telescope has spotted the farthest star ever seen in scientific history. So that's kind of cool. Also, that should be a bigger story too. And astronomers discover a mysterious circular ring in deep space as well. That should be a bigger story too. I'm gonna see if I can close these ones out, and then just finish off with the big one. A professional butt model in Japan has married a lonely gamer guy, and that's pretty cool. Clever wild boar pulls off incredible rescue effort to save other boars that were trapped in a trap. It's all on a camera, trail camera. The I guess it's a USFL football is still going on now, and the Binghamton Stallions safety runs into the stands during a game to rescue his pregnant wife who passed out. I guess that happened today because USFL usually plays on Saturdays. One of the most complete dinosaur fossils has been found in a Chilean glacier. So once again, why I'm naming the episode Fossil Record. There's a lot of fossil stuff in here. Recently discovered dinosaur mummy has skin and guts intact. That's another reason why it's called the fossil record. Also I know it's around here somewhere. Also, a full-size Triceratops head has been discovered. There's 3,000-pound Triceratops skull has been unearthed in South Dakota. So, again, fossil record stuff. Got all kinds of cool stuff like that. See if there's any other really kind of fossil-y science stuff before I move on. I don't know what this is. Oh, also, I'll get into that. Organisms trapped in ancient rock may actually still be alive. That's kind of an interesting thing to discover as well. The first all-black climbing team has reached the summit of Everest, so good on them. What is that? New season of something is coming. I don't know. Oh, Black Mirror. New season of Black Mirror is coming. McDonald's is leaving Russia after 30 years due to the attacks in Ukraine. The first look at the vocal cast for the Gremlins animated series that's going to be on HBO Max has appeared. It's going to focus on the Chinese family that had at the beginning of the first Gremlins. The cast includes Ming-Na Wen, James Hong, B.D. Wong, and Izara Wang. All pretty good actors and actresses in their own right. The film Monsters of California gets a trailer from Blink-182 singer Tom DeLonge. He directed it and wrote it, I guess. I didn't take a look at it, but I guess it sounds interesting. Man dies while burying woman he strangled in South Carolina. He strangled a woman, I guess was his ex-wife or whatever, and was burying her in his backyard when he had a heart attack and he died as well. He got what he deserved, but unfortunately, so did the person who died. I have no idea what this is. Oh, Mystery Incorporated. That's what it is. Mystery Incorporated pilot is Riverdale for Scooby-Doo. So basically there was a pilot that I think got picked up, which is they're going to be Riverdale-ing the Scooby-Doo stuff. So they're going to be more grown-up stories and stuff like that. So that's kind of weird. Chainsaw Man anime is coming to Crunchyroll in the fall. My wife and daughter got into Chainsaw Man recently, so they're excited about that. Netflix is going to be developing a live-action Pokemon series, which is about freaking time. They did really well with Detective Pokemon or Detective Pikachu, so you can do a Pokemon series. Just got to figure out a good storyline and make it interesting as well. The first trailer for Good Luck to You, Leo Grand is Emma Thompson, who hires a male prostitute, and that's really the whole movie. It looks interesting. The Pitch Perfect TV show has finished filming, so they will be getting underway very shortly. Doctor Strange 2 surpasses $700 million at the box office. A lunar eclipse that we had last Sunday was captured from the space station, and there was also a video rather, taken during the eclipse, that as soon as the total eclipse happened, the Milky Way popped into view because it was so dark you could see it. ESPN is going to be doing a 30 for 30, their documentary series that they do about sports figures, stuff like that, on the 2000 Ravens, the best defense in football ever, and should be a very interesting story. Can't wait to check it out. Only Murders in the Building season 2 teaser trailer debuted this week as well. Sound waves can carry mass. I didn't know that you could get hit with sound waves, but apparently you can, because now it carries mass. Massive space rock is heading straight for Earth, and it looks more like a minor planet than a comet, so that's not good either because it's much bigger than a comet, so it might be a little bit harder to miss us, but it still probably should right now. 90-year-old Clint Eastwood is still raring to go. He just directed and starred in a new film with Dwight Yoakam that'll be coming out very soon. Clint Eastwood is always, as a director, that if I ever was a director, I strive to be him because he stays on budget. His budgets are never way crazy, and he makes his money back every time. And he works and he's consistent and he gets the job done quickly. He's made a ton of movies, and that's good for him. John Woo, the amazing Chinese director who had a couple splashes in the 90s here in America and then sort of disappeared for about 10 years, is now coming back with a new movie for America called, for the United States, filming in the United States, called Silent Night. Probably a Christmas one anyway, so that's coming up here soon. More from the Disney Upfronts. Marvel licenses Marvel has licensed Stan Lee's likeness for future films, and for merch and other stuff as well. So they are going to be able to keep having Stan Lee in their movies, and they have the rights to use his likeness. So that's good for them, I guess. The first look at Echo. We got some pictures of Echo doing her thing for her show, which is probably going to come out early next year, I would assume. Rumor right now, it's not official, but the rumor is Captain Carter. We're getting a live action film in development right now with Haley Atwell returning as Peggy Carter's as Captain America, but Captain Carter because she's British. Marvel Comics loses the Conan license. They no longer are going to be able to do Conan comics or have them in their comics anymore like they used to. They used to have them in the 80s, and they lost it to Dark Horse and so on for a while, and then they got it back, and then they just lost it again. The creators of Conan, or the not the creators because it's Burroughs, but his people that own the license to Conan, or own the rights to Conan now, and have sold them to Marvel now, have bought them back, and they want to make their own Conan comics and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. Disney and Pixar announced their new film. It's called Elemental, and it takes place in a city where earth, fire, wind, and water are personified, and they all live together in a town. We just got some real quick brief behind-the-scenes look at it, but nothing really concrete. It probably won't be out probably for a couple of years anyway, so look for that more often later on. That's it for the Disney stuff, I think. Chris Hemsworth, his new Netflix movie Spiderhead trailer was revealed. He's playing the bad guy in that one, so it'd be good to see him playing a bad guy in that. So looks like an interesting sort of different take for Mr. Chris Hemsworth. And now we're going to end today's episode with, let's make sure I'm not missing anything, three interesting stories. One, the Cincinnati Reds, who's considered to be one of the worst teams in baseball right now, actually threw a no-hitter, which is in and of itself an amazing feat. But they lost the game due to walks and stuff like that, and they weren't able to score any and hit stuff. So that was kind of a downer when you throw a no-hitter and still don't win the game. A couple is looking to sue their son and his wife for not having kids yet because they want grandchildren. So they're suing their son and daughter-in-law to get them a child, and why they haven't gotten them a grandchild yet. So that's weird. And finally, kind of interesting news, a 2020 Saharan dust storm that was massive has finally made its way from the Sahara over to us now and could affect the Caribbean and parts of Southern California, the South, Florida, New Mexico, parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, could affect Southern United States later this summer. So kind of intriguing that you're able to have an entire dust storm be so massive and still be able to, make its way over a year, almost 2 years, and it's finally going to affect people here in the United States. That's interesting. All right, just after 2 o'clock, I'm tired. It's been a long week, as I said. Check out my eulogy for Jinx, my kitty Jinxie the cat. And then check out this episode as well. Next weekend is Memorial Day weekend, so it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully this week will be better than last week, and we'll see what's rolling through here. Have a pleasant day. It is now 2:01 a.m. on Sunday, May 22nd. I'm going to bed. Thank you for watching.